Costumes also and color also form allegiances. You see the American revolutionaries on one side in blue and the British soldiers in red. Well, blue obviously was chosen because it opposes red. They're different. You can see on the battlefield who is who. It creates a sense of community and a sense of allegiance. And in this case, a sense of opposition. Well, the superhero costume also creates a sense of community. According to Richard Reynolds in Superheroes of Modern Mythology, that's how the superhero community is created. And according to Matthew Wolfmeyer in Batman and Robin in the Nude, or Class and Its Exceptions, he said that the adoption of a costume designates a superhero as existing in the realm of superheroes and villains, a component of the mythic landscape of superheroics. And what we have here is Superman is stopping a political assassination. So immediately the criminal knows who Superman is, knows why he stopped him. Down there in the bottom, the figure in the red sweatshirt with the hood is Dick Grayson. And this was his period after he was Robin, but before he became Nightwing. And the criminal doesn't know who he is. Who are you? What are you doing? And he thinks, I need a costume, right? Because it announces, without the walk and the costume, I'd have to explain myself. So if someone shows up to stop a crime and they're wearing a costume, you understand it. It announces their role. If someone shows up to stop a crime and doesn't have a costume, you think, what are you doing? Okay. In his dissertation on credibility-based logos at Southern Cross University, William Hague developed a theory about logo credibility, and specifically referring to businesses. And if you have a strongly credible logo, your business is going to do better, especially on the web. Well, this applies directly to superheroes. So the logo credibility is built out of two things: expertise and trust. And expertise is things like competence, ability to know what they're doing. Trust is trustworthiness, believability. And dynamism is how well expertise and trust are expressed and achieved. So this applies directly to the superhero chevron, which I'm going to talk about in a second, the logo, and the costume. High expertise and high trust equal high dynamism. And so that means it's a good costume. I use the word chevron for the superhero logo, the chest insignia, because Jim Steranko, in the foreword to the Superman Archives Volume 1, he used that term. And I figured if Jim Steranko, master comic book artist, could use it, I could use it too. But it's a more concise term than chest symbol or chest insignia or shield or icon. And it has connotations of a V-shaped symbol, which symbolize rank in military and police uniforms. Well, this is the Phantom Magician, appeared in 1935 in Mel Graff's The Adventures of Patsy, a comic strip. And he was short-lived, but he's a clear precursor to the superhero genre. And he has two V-shaped emblems. And so calling that the chevron actually has a nice historical background. We see in this early Superman costume that his chevron really looks like a shield. And the word chevron derives from the word for goat in French, because goat skin was used as a covering for shields. The chevron indicates, though, the character, either the superhero's character or his biography. So Superman's S stands for Superman. He is a Superman. He's sort of the best that we can be. That's his character. Batman's bat represents the moment when the bat flew through the window and he took on his superhero identity, his biography. And so for Superman, his expertise or his superness is his superpowers. His trust or his hero part is that he'll save you. On the show Smallville, they use the theme song, Somebody Save Me. He will be there. He's reliable. You can be sure of him. You can count on him. And as he says there, you needn't be afraid, I won't harm you, although Lois Lane looks a little shocked. And this ties in, though, with color theory. Blue, security and comfort. Red, active. And it's a brighter blue, so it's more reassuring than a duller costume. Here's Dr. Occult. This is Siegel and Schuster ran this strip before Superman appeared, and he was ordinarily a ghost breaker, a ghost detective, and then he went off on this odd adventure a fantasy science fiction adventure, and he's regarded as a sort of test run for Superman. But he's not a superhero. His costume doesn't convey anything. You don't get a sense of his credibility from that costume. Now, Batman's credibility. His competence is based on his fighting skills and his detective work. And his trust element is based upon vengeance. That guy's about to get the ass-kicking of his life before Batman frees Robin. And an example of this is from Detective Number 75 in May 1943. There were criminals on a bridge, and Batman and Robin were swinging. Well, the criminals cut Robin's line. Robin falls far enough to be killed. Batman thinks he's dead. Does Batman dive into the water to save Robin? No. Batman jumps on the bridge and beats the criminals up and throws 3 of them off, or they get knocked off by accident. Now, Robin, in fact, saved himself. He turned his fall into a dive. The criminals who had just been clobbered by Batman, they didn't. And I don't think these officially counted in Batman's death toll, but I think they should be. So Batman's reaction is vengeance, not saving, right? It's vengeance, not justice. And the costume and his chevron reinforce that element of his character. The Flash's credibility is based upon his competence from super speed, and trust is based upon just in time. He'll be there just in time to catch that bullet. And if you notice, he has the red and the blue again, and it's like the police officer uniform. So you have the power, but you also have a lighter color for a little bit more in trust. Captain America's credibility, based upon his super soldier powers, and he expresses the best of America. So in World War II, it was punching Hitler in the face. It was fighting fascism. After Watergate, Captain America abandoned his identity as Captain America and took on the identity of nomad. And that's because he had to question the legitimacy of constituted authority. If the president is a criminal, how can Captain America be a representative of the United States and, in a sense, of the government? So he had to abandon the Captain America costume to find himself and find America, and he did that through the identity of nomad. Now, what's interesting is that supervillains tend to lack chevrons. Why is that? Well, supervillains don't need to establish credibility, right? They just attack. And their whole costume really expresses, their whole body in many cases, expresses who they are. You get a sense that these are bad guys based upon the way they look. Chevrons primarily come up for doppelganger characters. So Black Adam is a sort of reverse. He's an evil version of Captain Marvel, although lately he's changed a little bit. And Venom, evil version of Spider-Man, right? Evil Spider-Man costume. Sorry, Danny. Evil Spider-Man costume. Interestingly, chevrons are more of a DC thing than a Marvel thing. And that's because the Marvel costume tradition was created by Jack Kirby. Back then, Marvel was distributed by DC, and so the early Marvel books made an effort not to compete. So the Fantastic Four in their first issue don't wear costumes. First 3 issues, they don't wear costumes. And the cover, they look like monster fighters. The Hulk is a monster. Spider-Man wasn't clearly a superhero from the cover of his first appearance. He's a little bit frightening. Thor looked like a fantasy or science fiction comic book. So, and I think that's held true at Marvel, and that's why Marvel superheroes tend to not have chevrons as often. An example of the superhero as metaphor. The part of defining the brand is to apply the appropriate metaphor. And credibility emerges from maintaining the metaphor of a character. The costume has to express that metaphor. Zatara is the daughter of Zatanna. She is a magician. She's a stage magician. She performs magic tricks in her civilian identity. And that, her credibility as a magician is expressed with her costume on the left, the magician's outfit. You get it. She uses magic to fight crime. She's a magician. Stage magic is a part of her character. On the one on the left, she got a new costume. And that's more of a, it's unclear exactly, but she's a bit more of sort of a sorceress or a witch. Well, a sorceress is different from a magician. She's not in show business. And so this costume did not express her character. And I think that's perhaps why she's gone back to the magician's costume.